Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Visual Studio Code demo video. We've talked a lot about bits and background information, why we're doing it, and all that sort of stuff in the introductory video. In this video, our main focus is just to demonstrate Visual Studio Code and show that it really delivers on the promises we made in that first video. So let's begin by you see open here a terminal window, and this bits directory is the root of a clone I made of the repository code, the bits repository code for my GitHub account. And so I've just cloned that down onto my local drive, and I'm just going to use Visual Studio Code to explore that, build it. I could use it to build new projects and add stuff and so on. But our purpose here is just basically the demo. So let's start a Visual Studio Code here just by typing in code dot to say, let's run in this current directory. And here comes Visual Studio Code. Let's take a peek at the main program. So this is a C# objects example. If you remember, we're doing examples in the 5 languages: C++, Rust, C#, Python, and JavaScript. And in each of these right now, there are 3 examples: a hello world example, a data example, and a C# example. Hello world is basically just a test bed for you to get your tool chain up and running and make sure that you can edit and debug and stuff. And the data example is comparing the type systems for the 5 languages. And there are some really interesting differences there. And the objects, which is this example, is the objects example for C#, shows you how to build user-defined types. I'm not going to explain what these projects are doing. There's been a little bit of that in the previous video, and the individual pages for each project are pretty clear, I think. So my purpose here is just to demo Visual Studio Code. So what we have here is this C#. Let's clear this terminal window, and I can build and run this project just by in the command window using the .NET CLI .NET run, and it's building it, and then bang, it ran it. Okay, but I can also do that. So let's clear this out again, just to show you that there's no smoke and mirrors. I can run this from the top menu, run without debugging, and sure enough, it's going to run just like it did before. And finally, let's just do a little bit of debugging. So here we'll go to run and start debugging, and this will just run to the first breakpoint that I've set. Here we are, and if I step over, you can see that you can see the output as it's being generated, and in the debug window, there's local variables are presented, a view, and we can see their types and their values, and I can add watches, and we can see the call stack and so on, all that nice stuff. And if the debugging took us into one of the other files, it would just automatically move, just like any good debugger. So that's all affected with this launch.json file, and I've put these here. They're in all of the examples are all set up and ready to run. All you got to do is download the repository, pull up Visual Studio Code, navigate to the directory, and away you go. Okay, it's all set and ready to go. The launch files are there, but it shows you how to do it. Now, just to convince you that this really does work about the same in any of the environments, let's just open, instead of the C# objects, let's open, so here's the C#, let's go up in my clone repository, and let's pick a Python file, and I'm going to pick Python data instead of objects just to see something a little different. So here we go, here's the Python file, and the terminal isn't at the right directory. If I just go here to any file in this project directory and open the integrated terminal, it'll bring it, you know, so it has the right terminal address, is looking in the right directory, and I can say Python py data py, and it ran it. And just like before, I can use the run menu and run without debugging, and it ran it. And I can, let's clear this. And I could go and to the run menu and start debugging. And sure enough, it moved to the first breakpoint. You see some output, and we can single step our way through. The F10 key works as well. That's normally what I use when I'm debugging on my own projects. And so it's working just like it did for C#. And if you looked at, if we took the time to look at C++ and Rust and JavaScript, same way. You know, the JavaScript doesn't have a build process because it just runs in a browser. It's built as it is loaded into the browser. But aside from that, it's all the same. Very, very, very nice tool. And remember, this runs on Windows, on Linux, on Mac OS, in virtually the same format. The front ends are identical. The back ends are just targeting each of those platforms. It runs the same way. I've run Visual Studio Code quite a bit on Linux. I've just, you know, a little tiny bit on Mac OS. I don't do much development there, but enough to convince me that, yeah, it's all going to work the same way. So this is a really powerful tool. You've got step-by-step instructions for setting it all up. The first video walked you through a little bit of that, and you'll see for yourself as you walk through the bits pages, you know, go back to that. You know, go to from any place in the website, go to tracks, bits, that'll take you to the repository page, and you've got links to wherever you want to go. And the repository page will take you to the code in the repository as well, and you can clone it and all that good stuff. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you have fun and using Visual Studio Code. I think you'll find it's light, effective, really nice tool once you get used to it. You know, you want to look at the setup information on the toolings page that tells you step by step how to set it up and all the nitty-gritty settings, so that what you see is exactly what you see here when I'm running it. You know, you can go on from there and adjust it however you know, pick whatever theme you want and lay out the terminal windows however you want, and so on. All right, so I'll say goodbye, and we'll see you again in another video sometime not very far away.